So good morning, everyone. Welcome to September's Mastermind e-Circle. And delighted to have those on who are in person here today, but for those of you who will also watch it back later. And we're coming to you from Mirawong country down here in Kununurra, as in that's where I'm recording this from. But I'd like to welcome our guest today, Simone from WAITOC in Broome. And Simone, no doubt, will tell us what country she's on and a bit about herself. And I simply want to give you the floor, so to speak, or the screen, Simone, and let you just yarn to us about WAITOC and what you do and the services, etc. But also just to share from your vast experience in the tourism industry and maybe some tips you could leave with us for those of us wanting to develop that area of our businesses further. So thank you, Simone, and over to you.
Thanks, Marie. It's such a lovely introduction. But yeah, I would like to acknowledge that I am screening in from Yawuru Jugun country today. And I'd like to pay my respects to the elders, past and present, that have cared for this country and its people. I've been fortunate enough to grow up on this country with my family. And yeah, we continue to live here and build strong networks and connections with the people on the ground. So it's such a privilege to be a part of this e-circle too. Thank you, Marie. I think I connected with Karen maybe 18 months ago. You know, I stumbled across Magana Makers and I just thought, wow, this is an incredible initiative. And amazing. I was lucky enough to listen to Natasha last week at the Dylan Dewar business series. And yeah, she is just an incredible woman that is really sending ripples through the Kimberley and just providing a strong network. And yeah, we see that. Marie, has introduced me to an incredible group of people that are ready to take the next step and build that wealth through business. So really privileged to be able to work collaboratively, because I think that's reflected throughout the Indigenous industry, and yeah, it is even stronger in the Kimberley network. So I have grown up in Broome. My family are all here. I've got the Asian descent, so my great-great-grandfather came to Broome for the pearling industry. So yeah, we've got a long sort of standing connection to the town and its people, and understand sort of how it all works up this way. There are a lot of challenges for tourism being so remote. But of course, it's also our strong point and our point of difference in that beauty as well. So I've worked in the tourism space for up to sort of 10 years now, working on charter boats. Yeah, I worked at El Questro for a season, but really felt like, these operations were missing such a key component, which is Aboriginal tourism. So fortunate enough to take on a position with WAITOC to be able to provide that support through a program, which I'll talk a bit more about in a few slides' time. But yeah, when we talk about Indigenous tourism, we're working together to create a really strong network throughout WA to position WA as a premier destination where people would love to come and visit for Aboriginal tourism, and just putting that into the industry as a core component there. So I'll go into a bit more detail. I'll just flick through this slide. So today's presentation more focuses on who we are as WAITOC and how we can support your tourism business per se. So for a consumer, we are the one-stop shop for Aboriginal tours and experiences in Western Australia. So all of our members are listed on our site. But at WAITOC, we are the peak representative body for Aboriginal tours and experiences in Western Australia. So we promote and we support authentic cultural experiences across the state, from, you know, way down south all the way up to the north. And we promote this within the state, we promote it within the country, and then we promote it internationally as well. Our role, you can see up here, we've got 3 core pillars at WAITOC. So advocacy, the association is autonomous and we provide advice and information to all government levels. So that includes the vision and mission of what Aboriginal tourism, what our members want that to look like across the state, but also feeding through information about challenges or threats, or, you know, any sort of issues that the industry might be facing. We gather that information from our members and we're able to channel that up through the government agencies, through the relevant government agencies as well. So, and it goes the other way. We, as the peak body, if there are decisions being made, we're the peak body that they need to consult with in terms of making decisions. I'll skip over to the marketing arm. As I mentioned, we market the experiences across the state, within the state, across Australia, and then at an international level as well. So we've got a really strong marketing team. Di, Bella, you may know Di, and we are getting a new marketing assistant coming on board shortly. They work really hard in terms of our brochures, our website, attending trade events. The list kind of goes on in that space. And then thirdly, we've got the business development arm of WAITOC, and that's where my role falls into, and where I'll spend most of the morning sort of talking to you a bit about that space there. So you can see I've got the Aboriginal Tourism Academy, our partnership with Tourism Western Australia, and the support hub. So I'll skip through and we'll come back to those key points shortly. Our vision is to secure WA as the premier destination within Australia. So we are the premier state to experience authentic Aboriginal cultural tourism, and providing a really strong, sustainable industry in that space. We really want to see the creation of vibrant, authentic Aboriginal tourism, and for it to become like an integral component of Australian tourism, not just sort of a side pillar. We want it to really be the integral component there. Our mission is to be the premier advocacy body for Aboriginal tourism, to educate government and to provide the aspirations of industry in that space. There, you'll see WAITOC, this was from one of our chairs. So we are Indigenous tourism on country, and that was spoken by one of our previous chairs. But that sort of is us in a nutshell there. But of course, WAITOC does stand for Western Australian Indigenous Tourism Operators Council. But yeah, we really like that acronym as well. Our core values. So empowerment is a big one. We embrace the cultural identity and uniqueness across the state. And through this, what we see is there's a really positive social and economic outcomes through being able to practice traditions on country and to showcase it. We see pride through this process within the people and the businesses and the families. And of course, we wish to develop a sustainable Aboriginal tourism industry. So sustainable in terms of culture and economic values, and to sort of see it through the generations to come. The last point is a really important point that we practice in our work every day. So WAITOC's corporate values encompass both traditional and commercial components, but the differentiation between that is we give priority to culturalisation of commerce rather than the commercialisation of culture. And we did speak about this a lot last week in the regional business series about what does the conversation was specifically talking about Indigenous business. What does that look like in 5 years, 5 or 50 years? And a lot of the points that were sort of raised through it was that it's, you know, it's everywhere, and it's in big businesses. It's not just a side component. And in doing part of that, this point really shone through was it's doing business our way, and the way that you know is culturally sustainable, and the integrity and the authenticity remains. So yeah, looking at that, we really try and project that through our work and the way that we do business with our members, and of course how the industry works with Aboriginal tourism businesses as well. So yeah, keep going through. All right, so the GINA plan. So GINA is the Western Australian Aboriginal Tourism Action Plan, which is aimed to be delivered over the 4 years. So you can see there from 2021 to 2025. The GINA plan, so GINA is an overarching meaning, discoveries, so discover our future, discover our pathways, and discover our potential on country, sort of 1 foot at a time. It provides government with an agreed approach to align and collaborate and communicate across agencies. So the activities and objectives within the GINA plan are aimed at growing a diversified and sustainable Aboriginal tourism sector for WA specifically. And it's really important to note that the objectives in the GINA plan and the actions outlined are built on the work that's already been done. So it's been put together in collaboration with WAITOC Tourism WA to focus on progressing the actions that have already done and building a stronger industry. So through this action plan, this has allowed WAITOC to develop a stronger business development arm of its business. I'll just go through, there's a couple of key objectives in here that WAITOC are assisting the delivery in. So I'll just say that we are, it is an action plan, so it's not a strategy that's going to sit on a shelf. We are out here getting trying to achieve the objectives that are within that plan. And our key partner is Tourism Western Australia. So we're working together on these objectives. On the screen, you'll see a few objectives. They're not all of them, they're just a few key ones. So the 2 that I'm going to focus on today are the 2 at the bottom, but I'll just flick through. So there's a Welcome to Country art installation at key visitor centres. There's capacity building for Aboriginal event organisers. There's a Welcome to Country bookable database, and there's working with Tourism WA and other agencies to deliver Aboriginal business outcomes and job opportunities as well. So down the bottom here, we've got create a back of business support hub for Aboriginal tourism in WA, and then also the Aboriginal Tourism Academy. So those 2 fall at the bottom within the business development team, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in the slides to come. So just quickly, our growth, which is super exciting, a 62% growth since 2015. We've just had, a huge amount of interest for families and people to enter into the cultural tourism space, which is really cool. New members sort of week to week, which is great. And through the GINA plan and through the other arm of the business, we're able to actually provide support across the state now for this growth in the industry. So the business development, as I mentioned, we've got those 3 pillars for WAITOC: the advocacy, the marketing, and also the business development. Again, it's thanks to the Gina plan that we've able to expand this arm of the organisation. So back in sort of 2020 or 2021, I think we had one business mentor who looked after the state. So you can imagine his capacity was stretched pretty thin. But now we are a team of 8 across the state, and hopefully another person will be joining our team. So yeah, that's allowed us to provide a much more in-depth level of support, across the state there. This slide just sort of gives you an idea. The numbers are slightly outdated, but it gives you an idea of our members, our Aboriginal tourism businesses across the state, and the visitors per region. So with more staff, we're able to work with the right people to discover unique and authentic experiences. And this enables people to access the support, but also, be able to tell the stories that they want to tell as well. So I think it's important to note the high concentration in the Kimberley. So I'll just go back. Yeah, the Kimberley, again, this is a little bit outdated. We've got many more members now up this way, which is awesome. I think the Kimberley is such a unique place, and there's the diversity is so rich, and the culture, so a lot to offer. Yeah,
those are interesting figures, Simone. Like I see in the Pilbara there in terms of visitor numbers. Like double that for the Kimberley, but at this stage, you've got your 15, 15 to 18 or whatever it is now. Your tourism businesses. So just one question that came to mind. Do you, from your experience, do you feel we might be getting to a bit of a saturation point in the Kimberley of too many cultural tourism businesses, or is there the drive to get more visitors coming? I just find those stats very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting, and you pointed out, Marie, there is a gap, in places like the Pilbara, or even down south. There's only 2.5 million visitation to the southwest with 7 businesses. I think in terms of saturation, I don't believe there is a point of saturation. I think, and a lot of our members will agree and sort of project this in their work together. A unified industry is a stronger industry. And part of that is showcasing that, if you do a cultural experience in Broome or on the Dampier Peninsula, it's going to be completely different to an experience in Kununurra or, anywhere along the way. It's so diverse, and that is something that we're really, trying to educate people with. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel at all.
Well, that's really heartening and really good to know, and just encouraging the different business owners to collaborate or to share with one another. Well, this is what I'm doing up on my country, and when we come through, I'll give the brochure of what's happening on your country, and that whole thing of stronger together. Yeah,
absolutely, stronger together. Uncle Nev, I think, last week he spoke about, like fertilizers, you prop everyone up and build each other up, and it creates a much stronger industry. And, it works. Because I'm in Broome, I see it more, here. If someone can't do it, they'll pass over to their brother or another business. If one business is unavailable that day, they send the business, to another. In terms, it might be seen as a competing business, but it's not. It's just the way they work, and it's incredible to see. And I think too, within these businesses, you might have accommodation offerings, you might have tour products, you might have bush foods, or you might be doing workshops, or however that looks. So there's so much scope within that tourism space. Alrighty, so WAITOC Support Hub, so that I work on. So I'll probably spend a bit of time talking about this program, just so you can understand, how we can help your business, I guess, with this program. So WAITOC Support Hub falls within the business development arm of WAITOC. And you can see here, it's been designed to assist with the essential but really time-consuming back office tasks. So the idea is to improve your operational efficiency and strength within the business by providing a guidance in a range of areas. So it's not listed because every business is so different. So where possible, we always try and connect you to relevant training modules or resources. And the idea is to help build your capacity and skills within that space, and also staying up to date with the tourism industry and or the trends and what's happening in that space. So as I mentioned, we've got staff across the state. So I'm based in Broome. We've got another staff member based in Geraldton, and that's Kyle, and Lisa down in Perth. So on the screen here, you'll see 4 points. So these are our 4 key modules that the Support Hub aims to help your business with. Now, with these 4 modules, they have been derived from engagement of our members. So when we started the program, we engaged sort of 30 to 40 of our members and asked them where do they need support with the back, that back end, that back office stuff. What are you finding challenging, time consuming? How can we help increase that operational efficiency so you can focus on your core product essentially and build that space? So from that engagement, we streamlined it into 4 key areas. So the first is general business administration, understanding the tourism industry, online booking platform support, and management support in managing your online presence. So module 1. Now, general business administration, this is a really broad topic. So I haven't put together a definite list of the areas, because the way that we like to work with you is to really, to figure out where you're having those challenges and then work from there. So the general idea of assisting with business administration is basically to bring it into a centralized platform which simplifies your workflow. And this ultimately will reduce that manual labor and increase productivity. So I've just put a few examples there, and these are certainly not limited to these couple of examples, but it might be your invoicing, figuring out a system or a platform that will make that process super easy, and also making sure that you're getting paid. So there's a way that you're actually getting paid and people are paying you on time. I think a lot of our members, I've seen there's a lot of trust that people will pay, but it's sometimes mistakes are made, and it's really important that people are getting paid for their work. So just streamlining that process. It might be your basic business financial obligations. So looking into, the bookkeeping story. Do you have an accountant? Is this, do you need us to connect you with the right people, or is this something that you'd like to take on yourself in terms of the bookkeeping? Can we help you upskill? What does that look like, and how we can get that into a safe place for you? I put calendar management there. With our with our workflows, this sort of comes into communication flows as well. So making sure that, you know, everything is in a centralized platform. The communication is coming through a really simple channel. So, you know, you're not getting emails from 10 different emails, from a text message on 2 different phones, and, you know, phone calls, and, you know, through Instagram, Facebook, whatever that might be, just ensuring that flow of communication is coming through one channel, and it's going into you know, a calendar that's easy to manage, and you can, yeah, keep on top of that really easily. Other sort of general business, you know, it might be setting up your emails, it might be helping with a footer, you know, or yeah, just all bits and pieces as well. We like to be that kind of person, you know, where if you get an email that you're not sure what it's asking you, or you don't know if it's a scam, or you're not sure if you need it for your business, that we can be someone that you can, you know, give us a call or flick it through and say, hey, I'm not sure what this means. Can you please help me navigate it? And we can, yeah, like work through it with you in that space. So, yeah, lots of different, you know, lots of different stuff with that business administration. So again, it's not restricted to a couple of dot points there. It's, yeah, really based around what the business needs. So module 2, so understanding a business is one thing, and it's incredibly complicated. You know, and I think, you know, yeah, there is so much to learn, and you do most of that learning on your way. So, and there is a lot to take on in managing a business, and particularly with that administrative side. So that's the first module that we try and help you with. Then once you're sort of in the tourism space, understanding that tourism world is it's like a whole nother world in itself. So again, we like to be your go-to people in understanding what the industry looks like. So who are your key, you know, tourism bodies? How can they help your business? And what do they do? So in the tourism space, you've got your visitor centres, you've got agents, you've got what we call your regional tourism organisation, you've got your state tourism organisation, which is Tourism WA, and yeah, just understanding who they are and how they can help. The lingo is, you know, people will just abbreviate everything. So, you know, they'll go, are you connected with your RTO or your STO? You know, have you got your ATDW listing? And do you work with trade? And yeah, it's crazy, you know, and you go, wait, what language was this? Like, so being able to like break that down for you and go, okay, this is, you know, this is what this person does. This is how they can help. This is who you connect to. Yeah. And there is so much. And you know, when you're new in that space, all of a sudden you're expected to know everything. So again, just being that go-to person to go, is this a good opportunity? Should I connect with this person? Yeah. So again, not a detailed list of how we can support, but the overarching idea of where we'd like to provide that support. We go on to module 3 now. So online booking platform. Now we've kept this as a separate module. In a sense, it does fall into both categories, I guess, business administration and understanding the tourism space. But yeah, getting an online booking platform for your tourism business is kind of, it is a key component in terms of the consumer experience from booking your product, that, you know, that click-through process. It's very easy. And also for the business to be able to effectively manage your reservations and your calendar. the technology and the systems out there at the moment are, just amazing. Their functionality is incredible. You can really tailor it to how it's going to work for you. And that might be if you're an accommodation offering, if you're tourism, offering tours, or if you're hosting events, or anything sort of in that space. So what we do is we help, we provide you with the information that you need on the best platforms, and sort of highlight the pros and cons for each, and then help you make an informed choice. So we always want to be, walking through this process with you, sort of not giving you the answer, because it's different for everybody once again. Providing all the information that you need to make a choice that will work for you and the business. And sort of that goes, the online booking platform that will automatically sort of streamline the flow of communication. You've got automated reminder emails, confirmation emails. You've got, it just really makes your life so much easier and takes a lot of work out of that back end for you as well. And the other key component to an online booking platform is the ability for it to connect to a reseller or an agent. So you might want to connect with your local visitors centre. You might want to connect with an online travel agent or like an online booking platform. And that process is made really simple through those systems. It allows real-time, calendar views, and then it just feeds the information through. So that's sort of a key component for us as well. Module 4, so managing an online presence. In this space, working in tourism, it's really important to have an active online presence, particularly for your social media channels. So you might be using Facebook, you might be using Instagram, keeping those, up to date and current, and, what's happening on tour. And it allows your customers to connect with you on those channels, as well as relevant industry bodies. It's a really easy way for them to be up to date with what the business is doing. So we provide sort of guidance in that space and help connect members to training opportunities, and just sort of tips and bits and pieces on, effective management, scheduling tools, who you should be tagging and who not, and all those bits and pieces within the tourism space. And then I've got at the bottom there, maintenance of other online industry profiles. So once again, once you're in the tourism space, you've got, you might have listings on ATDW. So that was the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, making sure that's up to date and your contact details, they're correct. There's TripAdvisor, there's a Google listing, there's your website that, you need to keep those bits and pieces up to date. So just a bit of support there, because it's a lot, and it can feel like a lot, like very overwhelming as well.
Simone, can you just unpack a bit further about ATD? It's not something probably we're familiar with in the club. Is there a cost to that? Is it a recommended platform for businesses to go on, etc.?
Yeah, definitely for a tourism business. So it's the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, and it's a very simple listing. I believe there is no cost involved. And basically it's got your business description, a bit about your products, and some photos as well. So, and of course your contact details. So it's what sort of like, all of the tourism bodies, so say Tourism Australia or Tourism Western Australia, or for here, our regional tourism organisations, so Australia's Northwest, they might pull information from that, so it's really important to keep that current as well.
Thank you.
They are as well. It's quite a clunky system. It's not great, but I do believe that they are upgrading at some point before the end of the year. So yeah, it's just one of those. It's another task, another job. There's always jobs. There's always stuff to be done. But yeah, it's a really easy listing. And if you forget your password, you should be able to contact the support and get access to that as well. But there is so much to know. So hopefully, we try and cover it all without overwhelming everyone too. There is so much. Even your Google listing, that can be a hard one to set up and to get it going. I really recommend keeping having a system for all your passwords and keeping that in a safe place, because there's so many logins, there's so many bits and pieces, so having that in a safe, centralized place that you can just refer back to is really important.
Our life is so full of passwords nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm normally pretty good on passwords and remembering things like that, but I've even recently gone over to using a bit of system because it's just it's too hard. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, and I must admit, like that cybersecurity and that safety, it's not one of my strong points, but we do have a few people that we, reach out to, and helping you manage if you're keeping all your business documents in a cloud-based system. Just all of those small bits and pieces. But so the online presence, it continues to grow, and it is something that you really want to get a handle of for your business. And it doesn't just encompass social media. So that's why I sort of haven't just put social media presence there. So I'll keep going. So they're the 4 key pillars. I thought I would just put up here the pathway of how we work. We're always very transparent in our processes and what we're doing, because it's about your business. So every step of the way we'll work with you. So the first part is obviously a relationship building. We want you to be comfortable, to get to know us and to understand the level of support that we can give. Opening up your business at the back end, especially in the operational side of it, is very like private information that you've worked hard, to get it to where it needs to be or whatnot. So just making sure that you're comfortable with us in that space. We need to engage with you to understand your vision of the business, where you want to see it going, and any challenges that are sort of inhibiting you to get to that point. And we'll help you identify some limitations. So within your back end, day-to-day runnings, and help you, sort of understand of where we can go. So I guess an example of that identification of a limitation within your administrative procedures. So for example, if you don't have a booking system and you're taking bookings from phone calls or text messages, or you're connected just to the visitors centre, we can help identify that and help implement a strategy to improve that operational efficiency. So if the business is willing, if they want to take on an online booking system, they're comfortable using a phone or a computer, or, they really want to learn, that new piece of software, then we'll help implement, build a platform, find the right platform, help set it up, and then of course, assist where we're building their capacity and in understanding that new operational procedure or how to use the booking platform. to the point, where they're able to take it on board and run with it as well. So that's just one example. It's not limited to that. But yeah, it kind of gives you a bit of an idea there. Sorry, I'm not sure if you can hear the dogs barking at the back.
Yeah, that's okay. It's the Kimberley experience.
One of the dogs howls at the sirens. So when he hears the sirens going, he just goes, and then the whole neighborhood goes.
That's quite all right.
Okay. So that's a bit about our pathway within the support hub. Just to give you a bit of an idea of how we work. So that is sort of a lot of information there specifically around the support hub. So as I mentioned, that's the program that I work on, and I work, with the staff member in Geraldton, Kyle and Lisa, and that sort of is really targeted at the operational, day-to-day runnings in the back end of a business. So providing that support where needed, and just being able to be that go-to person to say, I have no idea what this person is saying, help me, which is great. Now on the screen here, you'll see the Regional Aboriginal Tourism Academy. So this is another program that we run, and this is, some of you may have met my colleague Donald Monk. So he's running this program up in the Kimberley and the Northwest. We've got Bryony in Albany and another fella, Neville, in Geraldton now. And this, Maria was talking, so we're hoping, we have opened up a position in the East Kimberley, in Kununurra, which is very exciting. So the job is advertised on Seek. If you're interested, or someone that would be interested in getting involved, I think I've sent the link to Marie, or you can. I've got my contact details at the end there. So definitely get in touch, because we're really excited to be able to provide and extend this support to the East Kimberley. I think Broom's so saturated sometimes, and the work that is coming out of the East Kimberley is exceptional. So within the tourism space, we're hoping to put someone in there, and that means it's someone on the ground that you can go to as well, which is it's really important, I think, to have face-to-face someone that can come and see you on your country, talk through the process, and be there as that representative for support. So the Aboriginal Academy works quite differently to the support hub. In terms of it, it's more of it's sort of a project, I guess, for the businesses. It's sort of 12 to 18 months. And again, that's flexible depending on the needs of the business. You get paired with a mentor within your region, and then you work through the stages of where's your business at and where do you want it to be, and working through those steps of how to get there, working to an action plan with your mentor, with a bit of extra support provided. So that I won't go into great detail about the academy. I've just got up here the locations again. So Donald Monk, he's in Broome, Geraldton is Neville, and then Albany is Bryony, and then we'll have a fourth one very soon in Kununurra. Really a great program, and I really encourage you to get involved, even if you're a new business and you're wanting to sort of accelerate that process. There's a lot of support sort of provided through it as well. But I won't go into detail about that just because it isn't my program specifically, but of course we're always here for a conversation. So reach out, a message, call us, email us, and we're really happy to, walk through that a bit more with you. I've just got on here. So that sort of summarizes our business development arm and the support that we can provide. You know, I do acknowledge that it's not very specific, or it's not a detailed list on where we can help. And that's primarily due to the fact that it's so different for every business. So we try not sort of, you know, box every business into what support they need, because really it's through that engagement that we identify where the support's required. So it's so different for everyone. And we just try and help where we can in that business development space. And these next slides just kind of just highlight a few of how the marketing arm works. Again, it's definitely not my area of expertise, but it's a really great resource. So when you are a member of WAITOC, you get included in all of the brochures that Di and her team put together. So we've got a touring map of the state with all of our members sort of scattered across that and their contact details. She does a Aboriginal bush food and wildflower trails. So if you incorporate bush foods, or if that's the space you're in, you'll be included in that brochure. And there's also all these other bits and pieces. So all these other brochures, sorry. So some really great marketing opportunities. And with these brochures, the website, of course. So you'll be on the website and included in campaigns and bits and pieces like that. So the website's got a really high visitation. These are all Di's stats, so I'm probably not going to interpret it, but great opportunity. And represented at trade shows. So Di attends heaps of trade shows across the country, but also internationally as well. So she'll take the brochures, the product manuals with her, and she will represent your business at these relevant trade shows. So some really cool opportunities to be involved in. And it's through, if you are a member, you'll be included in the relevant brochures, and our social media, of course. So we've got the Facebook and Instagram page. And yeah, if you guys post stuff, we share it, and bits and pieces, so your reach is distributed a bit further. But yeah, that's, I think, will take me to the end. Look, there's so much information in there, so please feel free to reach out. Like I said, if you're listening and you're a part of Maganda Makers, you're already in the right space, for that network. It's such a strong network. And liaise with Marie or Karen, before reaching out to me, if that's how you want to work. Marie and I we work together with you, so we don't take over. We know the support is required from everyone, so we try and work together with you in that space. So if you feel more comfortable reaching through Maganda Maker Network to get to us, that's absolutely fine. But of course, my contact details are there too, so you're welcome to just give me a call. And Marie sort of asked me, I think, a couple of tips for if you are wanting to get into tourism, or if you are in that tourism space, and really trying to think about sort of 5 tips. I think number one is connecting with your support network primarily, whether that's your family or community, and then of course this through Maganda Makers, that women's network is incredibly powerful, because there are so many challenges that come, first of all, starting a business, second of all, within the tourism industry. So making sure you've got the right support networks around you. And I know a point that was raised last week, sometimes it's hard to find who's right for your supports. And, even that in itself can be a bit of a process in reaching out to all the business support networks. even that in itself is kind of a challenging task. But I encourage you to keep going with it, keep working through your networks and find who's right for you to support in this journey. And I think particularly through phases, you know, in that startup phase, you might find that someone works for you. In that next phase, you know, there's going to be another mentor. And in that growth, you know, it might be someone else again. So keeping in touch with them, you know, make sure, just keeping in frequent contact. That would be definitely my number one piece of information. But if you're listening today or online, you're already in the right space to go.
It's awesome.
Did anyone?
Simone, I had just a couple of questions, and then we can just open it to those still on the call. So the whole marketing side is just phenomenal, and Diane, who currently leads that arm of WAITOC, is just exceptional in what she does and the reach, etc. So just bringing it down to a bit of detail, if there's a club member who's interested in getting going in this space, can they contact the hub for support with the likes of a logo or some postcards or a brochure or a website, etc.? Does that come within the mix there of what some of the support could be tailored to?
That's definitely some of the support in that space. So I guess in the logistics side of it, so we are a membership-based organisation, and that is that direction is set from our board. So we do have like a process. Visit our website, and then you can apply for membership. And what that just goes through the board, that membership application process, and then we're underway. We can support you in the areas that you need. And that's not to say that we can keep we'll keep in contact and engagement, while that process is happening. So that's a part of our constitution, which is set by our board there. And Marie, I think you've got the links and stuff.
Sure. So what's the cost of your membership at the moment?
So we've got a couple of different tiers. Aboriginal tourism businesses, I think it's just changed. I think it's about $150 for the year.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, if that's not within reach for you, we can work for payment plans. Alternatively, there can be a conversation around a year's free membership as well, so you can get to know the organisation and understand how that support works.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Especially for a new business too, starting out, it's really important to offer that.
That's right. And sometimes it's just good to, when you're first starting off with some ideas and sort of formulating what you might do specifically, just to sit and kind of soak within the support network, hear from some others to get some inspiration, and then you're ready to push out on your own.
That's it.
Do we have any? Oh, sorry, Simone.
I was just going to say as well, if you are interested, and there's no better way than seeing, getting to know you and your business. If we can come and visit you, if you prefer that, make sure you reach out. I know online phone calls, it's really hard to build that first step, which is a relationship. And so, we're more than happy to come out and visit you.
Yes, so I see on our Zoom here, we've got the lovely Liz. Hi, Liz. And Liz is based out of Perth. So we have about 20% of our club ladies are based in Perth.
Great.
So that can still be an opportunity for them to reach out to WAITOC.
Absolutely, our head office is actually in Perth, Liz. So we've got Carl, who's our business development manager. He'd be great for you to connect with, as well as Lisa. So Lisa runs the same program in Perth. And yeah, you're welcome to even drop in. The office is at Heathcote. I forget the address right now. In Applecross, but yeah, it's it definitely connects through the channels. And even if you flick me an email, I can include their details there so you can connect.
Excellent. All right, so we'll move towards wrapping up. But as I said, I want to, open up the floor. So, Liz, is there a question you may have, and then perhaps Karen and Candice just bringing any particular queries that you have from some of our ladies in the tourism space. So, yeah, the floor is open. Remember to unmute, which is what I normally forget.
No, I don't really have any questions just yet, but I'm sure I'll have some in the future.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of information there, and it really only touched on sort of one aspect of WAITOC. And Liz being in Perth is great because sorry for the Kimberley mob, but you do have access to a lot of great tourism workshops and all those bits and pieces that are happening there. So yeah, make sure if you're interested, definitely reach out and have you on for sure.
Yeah, I did speak to Rosanna before. She did tell me about WAITOC and that it would be a good idea for me to get on board.
Yeah.
It's just because I'm FIFO still, so I work away.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to find the time around getting to do things for myself. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. That balance, I'm sure when you have time off work, it's time to relax too. So Rosanna is she still sits on our board. She has, been a part of leading the direction, and she's such a great mentor too. I know she's a part of the network. So she's in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Lovely. Thank you. Karen or Candice, is there perhaps one question you just want to bring?
Well, I think it's been a really informative session, Simone. You're amazing. So I've absorbed quite a bit of it, and I think I'm going to message you separately, just for a little bit of a discussion. But I think in talking to a few of our club members that are doing tourism, the biggest issue they have is pricing their tours and ensuring that it's competitive, that it's the right thing, because a lot of our ladies are quite humble.
Yes.
So they kind of think, well, I'll do, but then when you look at their expenses, they're actually paying the people to come and do their tours. So
I know, yeah.
So it's kind of finding, finding a little bit of an avenue for them to be able to price things right.
Yeah,
and that's a bit of a woman's thing, isn't it? Like, as women, we tend
definitely
to not put our value out there. So
that's right.
Yeah.
It's really important point, Karen. And we workshop this process with a lot of our members. There are a lot of costs involved in running a business and a tourism business, and the level of complexity comes into as well, because if you start using a reseller, then there's commissions involved as well. So we've got a couple of great tools that we can work through to find the pricing and get that right, because it's part of being sustainable is having an economic return that enables that process to continue telling their story. So it's a really key part of it. So definitely can help them.
Awesome, thanks. I'll flick you an email anyway.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you again, Simone. Been, as Karen's just said, very informative. And the work that WAITOC do and what you particularly do in the Kimberley is just phenomenal. And I particularly liked the slide that shows like your support pathway and how you build that, which is all about relationship and finding the strengths, and then looking at the barriers and then tailoring and personalizing something to suit each person, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Going into business is challenging in itself, but you can certainly enjoy the journey on the way. And I think sometimes that bit's forgotten. So the slow but steady approach in order to be sustainable, you know, rather than necessarily trying to jump out of the block straight away and falling over after a couple of years.
It's definitely a long journey, but it is worth it. You know, the vision at the end, I think our vision is quite shared with your vision as well, you know, and that creating wealth is not just through economics, it's through culture, it's family, it's all the positive social outcomes as well. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. And we wouldn't be here without our incredible members. So we're very lucky to work with such a fantastic, you know, group of people. So definitely can't take credit for anything that we do here. Great team, but the members, just amazing. So yeah, very lucky.
That's good. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And be in touch with myself or Simone or Karen, any of us in the team. And let's keep doing business well. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.